From Fox News, Vindman says Musk should be nervous after Telegram CEO was arrested. Free speech absolutists weirdos.
Is Alex Vindman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Telegram CEO Pavel Durov is being accused of not taking sufficient action to limit criminal activity on the messaging app. And Vindman says that Elon Musk should be worried. He says that there's implications for other social media. There's a growing intolerance for platforming disinfo and malign influence and a growing appetite for accountability. He's completely correct about that. There's an intolerance for people like him, in my opinion, platforming disinfo and malign influence. Ukraine is an enemy of this country. I despise that country. I used to like it. I thought it was beautiful. I have friends in there. Now I think they are, it's a hive of scum and villainy by which we should have no involvement. They are now accused, there's a warrant issued for the arrest of a Ukrainian for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline.
That's right.
Ukraine, using Western weapons, intelligence, and resources, now invaded Russia. The U.S. needs to cut them off cold turkey and say enough, because they are enemies and they are going to lead this country and this planet to destruction. That's Vindman, who overwhelmingly blindly supports that country, who helped lead the fake impeachment of Donald Trump when Donald Trump was trying to investigate the illicit business dealings of the Bidens. So this guy should be worried about his malign influence.
He leaked the phone call between Trump and Zelensky, where Zelensky was like, hey, why was that prosecutor fired? Was that because of Biden's influence? And Vindman leaked that, and that led to the first impeachment. Even though what Trump was saying was Biden withholding money from you guys until you fired the prosecutor?
That's illegal. We got to look into that.
Right.
Wow, that's crazy.
We should check that out.
And then the deep state and Democrats colluded and conspired to impeach Donald Trump over a crime they committed. It's a very smart maneuver. Accuse your enemy.
Law of woke projection strikes again.
The intelligence agencies and the Democrats knew that the only way to get it's brilliant. You have to. I'll put it this way. I'll tell you a story, or I'll give you a simple analogy. If two people get into a fight, it's usually whoever calls the police who wins. There are numerous circumstances that happen all the time where the aggressor who starts the fight calls the police and the victim gets arrested.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Police don't care. They show up and they say, you called the police? Yeah, this guy's freaking out. He's attacking people. Doesn't matter if you're the victim. So what Democrats did was they're like, crap, Trump's onto us. We need to launch a criminal charge against him for doing this exact thing. That way it can't be used against us. We'll get to the police first.
It's a sick and insane form of gaslighting where they weaponize the justice system and the partnership between the government and the mainstream media complex to achieve a nefarious end. Like, I want to blow your mind for a minute. Imagine this. Think about this threat that he's making and the people who he represents, Vindman, who I can't stand the sight of him. But Trump is going to get sentenced in
September 18th.
September, 18, 15, something like that, right? And he's threatening here. The CEO of Telegram is now in jail, right? He's threatening Musk. Could you imagine on October 1st if Trump and Musk were both in jail?
Yeah, they're not going to arrest Musk. He'd have to go to Europe.
Imagine he goes to Europe and he goes through France and they do the same thing to him just for the sake of argument. I don't want it to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But he's talking like it's going to happen.
It's not going to happen to Musk because of SpaceX and because of Tesla.
Well,
the economic damage would be tremendous.
They need SpaceX to go get those astronauts back.
They do.
They've got 2 U.S. astronauts just stuck in space.
Yep.
Can you imagine being
Boeing
told
and
that
NASA
you're going to
can't
be up
get
there
it?
for 8 days, and then they're like, actually, we'll come get you in a couple months. Like,
Was it supposed to be 8 days?
Yeah, it was supposed to be 8 days. What's funny is there was this whole joke about how NASA engineers tried to send up like 1,000 tampons with a woman who was going to be in space for like 4 days. Kind of hope those are still up there for that lady.
Well,
someone wrote a song about it. And it's
that's
like,
why
these
it's
are our
fake news.
nation's greatest minds.
But that's why it's fake news.
Why?
So there's this old trope where it's this meme that goes around. It says, NASA spent $4 million developing a pen that could write in zero gravity.
Right.
Russians used a pencil. It's so funny, right? Except you can't use pencils in outer space because the particulates from the pencil will break apart, get into the systems, get into the filters. You can't do it. And so the same thing happened with the tampon story where they're like, did you know that NASA was trying to send up 100 tampons for a woman who's only going to be there for a week? Aren't they stupid? No, NASA probably said, how much money does it cost to send a payload up to outer space?
Yeah.
$50 million. Okay, well, let's quadruple up on everything
Send
we
all
can
of
and
it.
do one trip. And so now they've got 100 plus tampons
I
up
hope
there.
it's still up
not
there.
for one person. Yeah, certainly. If it's going to be months, you might need a handful.
months, yeah.
But the point is, people just generally don't understand these things, and they assume it was stupid to do something, which actually is, if you understand the full context of when's the next $50 million payload being launched to the ISS? Right. Send as much as you can now because you don't have a lot of opportunities to do it. People just don't get this stuff. But anyway, outside of that, why was this? What's going on with Pavel Durov? Why was he arrested? You know?
He's arrested because he refused to kowtow. He refused to bow. He refused to kiss the ring. They wanted him to police and monitor Telegram. I know to some extent the CIA or the FBI and/or wanted to be able to backdoor into Telegram in order to spy on people. I would imagine that other members of the Five Eyes, Canada, United States, and Australia wanted to do that with their spy agencies as well. My understanding is that he universally told them all that they can go screw themselves. And because of that, he is now in jail.
Yep.
He's accused of money laundering, of aiding, abetting, and like child sexual exploitation content. I mean, it is kind of, when you read the complaint, it really does feel like they're throwing a very broad book at him. I was surprised, though. I mean, I know he is a French citizen, that he flew to France at all. I mean, it seems like I'm sure on some level he was aware that France opened this investigation on July 8th, and so it seems like it's sort of a risky move. But maybe he felt like, as a citizen, he was going to be afforded some kind of rights and protection.
It's insane because regarding the rights and protections that you're talking about, the world that we live in, that we've all enjoyed, where you have a constitution, or you have due process. There's supposed to be a process that you're due, that is afforded you, that you go through before your rights, your liberties, your stuff gets taken away from you, especially your freedom. We live in an era where the process is the punishment, right? They know that eventually you're going to win these cases. So they front load the punishment. They take you, they cancel you, they disenfranchise you, they debank you, they put you in jail in order to get you to cop to a plea that you should never have to plead to, just to have your freedom back before you ever have your day in court. So that's what this is about. They're doing it to him. They're doing it to Andrew and Tristan. They're doing it to Trump, and they're going to do it to anybody else who stands against them, who has the power to launch a counteroffensive, a counter narrative in the world that we live in.
Well, let me ask you a question, though. I mean, these encrypted messaging apps are used by child traffickers and predators. So there is still a challenge of to what degree is there a responsibility of the people running? I'll say this before I get into the deep details. I don't think he should be arrested, but what should we as a society do when there is a platform that allows child abuse and exploitation?
I think you have to have some type of meaningful internal regulatory process under which you self-police. And then if you're given a valid subpoena from a government agency, you have to comply with it, right? You don't just give the FBI or the CIA the ability to have warrantless intrusion into people's private thoughts. That you can't do that. So I'm sure that's what he wanted to do.
Right.
They wanted to backdoor him. He said no, and he said, okay, we'll put you in jail.
Yep.
It's funny. I don't know if you guys read Edward Snowden's response to this, but he had said basically, "I can't believe President Macron is taking hostages in order to get access to private communication. I mean, this is terrible, and it's a breach of basic human rights and free speech." I think if you see who is responding to this really strongly, you get the same kinds of people who are saying like, "Hey, the government is not always acting in your best interest, and you have to treat it with the same kind of skepticism you would with anything for your own safety and protection."
Indeed. View the government the way our founding fathers did, with a fair degree of skepticism. It's a necessary evil, and that's it.
And a lot of distrust, honestly.
Yeah. Well, this is the French government, though. So
Even more distrust.
there's a funny a post where apparently, I don't know if this is true, I just saw someone post about it. The woman that he was with was posting everywhere they went. So the intelligence agencies knew exactly where he was all the time.
Was she some sort of asset or just
some
stupid?
influencer?
Yeah.
And she's posting everywhere they were going, in the plane, in the jet, and then landing. And then they were like, we got him. But let's be real. They know his tail number. They know where he's landing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I think it's more than just her. What I'm curious now is like, is Saudi Arabia going to intercede on his behalf? He's a citizen of the United Arab Emirates, I believe. His company is not based in Russia or France. It's based in the Middle East. So who steps in and says, we are here to advocate for you, or does this fall on him as a private citizen to have a good legal team?
It could be Putin.
Really?
I wouldn't put it past him.
The Kremlin released a statement saying basically these circumstances are very unclear and we're looking for more information. But it's maybe you can speak to this, but Russia's relationship with Telegram is fascinating to me because, of course, it was founded because of pro-democracy riots in Russia, and then they were like, no, you have to give us information or get out. And so he left in 2014, and they banned it in 2018, and then 2021 they're like, just kidding, Telegram's back. I mean, they really. It is a very fluid and ever-changing dynamic between them. So in some ways, I feel like Russia wouldn't want to speak up on Trump's side, but also maybe they don't want to be terrorized by a NATO ally.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to describe the situation on the ground there. I do think that Putin's recent comments about, like, if you're looking to have a safe haven from being canceled, so on and so forth, come to us and we'll protect you. This kind of falls right in line with that. So if I were him and if I wanted to be just opportunistic, I would take advantage of the situation and come in as the hero here. Somebody's going to have to do it. And Trump's not in a position to do anything right now.
It's not going to be Biden.
No. He's busy sundowning right now. So
he's on the beach.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.